Hello everyone and welcome to Helix Cloud Games. My name is Richie and this is CloudQuest, a cloud gaming show where we take a deep dive into one particular topic. This week we're talking about Summer Games Fest, doing a bit of a deep dive into what we've liked about it, going back into seeing how we did in our predictions, all that sort of stuff. And as usual, joining me in this quest is none other than Mr. Chris.
We did a thing.
We did a thing indeed. If you haven't already, by the time you're listening to this, a new channel update announcement should be live on the channel. Go watch that before you watch this, because I'm about to spoil something big if you haven't already watched it. So hit pause, open a new tab, watch it. It's going to be it's going to be nice and short, won't take you long. And then on Tuesday, enjoy our newest show, Talking the PS, a cloud gaming show where we break down all the PlayStation news happening in the clouds with our two brand new co-hosts, so I hope you've given a lot of love and appreciation like you do for Chris and I. Welcome them on board. Watch the Sound Stadia podcast, YouTube, podcast services. All of our podcasts are on podcast services, including this very show if you're not already listening to this on your podcast app of choice. And maybe check out our live streams on Thursdays.
What a week, Richie, for cloud gaming and Helix Cloud Games.
Indeed.
What a week. We've got showcases, we've got Summer Games Fest, we've got cloud gaming out the wazoo, PlayStation notching something new into PlayStation Plus, us launching a new podcast, and here we are, ready to talk about it.
Anyway, Chris, Summer Games Fest. We're about halfway through the month. Most of the main showcases that were announced have happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's time to dig into how we did in our predictions. But I want, first of all, a point of clarity for the audience. We're recording this on the 17th of June. This episode goes live for non-members on the 24th of June. So anything that happens in the next week will have missed. Oh, well, we'll cover on other shows, but yeah, we're not expecting anything big to drop. So, predictions. How do you think we did, Chris?
I was feeling confident throughout the showcase, but then I forgot about the particular little stipulations we put on them to kind of spice it up a little bit, and I think that backfired on me for a point or two.
Potentially in one or two. I think as a collective, we didn't do that bad. Individually, it wasn't great. So,
where do you want to start?
Well, I'll read through your predictions first, and then we'll see how well you did. Then we'll go through mine, and then I'll celebrate. First of all, you said 2K Cloud Chamber will bring out Bioshock 4. Midnight Suns will get a release date on that. Kojima will appear and announce Death Stranding 2. Obviously, you didn't get that one. Silent Hill Remake. I'm rubbing that one in because I had Kojima make an appearance with a new IP.
Mm-hmm.
Silent Hill Remake will be announced. Didn't happen. Valheim.
Can we just say the Bloober team are working on Layers of Fears, which is just a stupid name. You can't have two plurals. Layers of Fears. It's a terrible naming convention. Go back and working on Silent Hill in secret.
Yeah, but
I'm proud of the next one though.
Yeah, you got Valheim console. That was a good shout. That was a bit out there, but well done on that one. Deathloop comes to Xbox. No announcement on that.
That's rumoured this week as well. I'm still hearing rumours of that going around.
I think that's going to happen, but I don't know if they can even announce that until the exclusivity deal's up.
Yeah, so probably
that might be one of the things, because Deathloop's coming to Xbox, so it's pretty much a secret.
Yeah.
You had Ben Schwartz and or Jim Carrey talking about Sonic 2. Did not happen. There was no really celebrity guest stuff.
Oh.
Well, there was The Rock, but that was more an advert for an energy drink more than anything.
Oh, that was so bad. The Rock's appearance. It was so shoehorned in. Like, The Rock referring to him. I know The Rock's good at hype and he refers to himself as a lot. But when he was saying, like, you know me as the foundation, I was like, oh, come on, dude. With his top off as well in the gym. It's like, we get it, you're buff.
I hate that giant celebrity cameo. Oh, you've caught me doing something. No, mate, we know this is rehearsed.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad.
And it wasn't even for a game. Like, it annoyed me so much. It's like, It was for a movie that I'm expecting to be completely mediocre at best.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we didn't need this here.
No, I agree.
Okay, rant about The Rock over. You had Hotline Miami 3. Not coming. There was something close, though, I think, wasn't there? If memory serves. I've seen a lot of game trailers in the last week. It's difficult to remember them all.
Yeah, there's some things that I'm not too clued up on, but not too sure.
Skybound Games, Telltale, or basically the Telltale Phoenix company would show Wolf Among Us 2. That didn't happen. I actually thought that was a lock, to be honest. I thought you would have got that point.
I'd like to claim 1 point back.
Which one?
Ben Schwartz did appear at the Sega live stream for Sonic.
All right.
Promoting Sonic 2.
Can have that
there was
point.
a voice in the back of my mind as you were talking about it. I was like, I've definitely seen Ben Schwartz do something.
I'll admit I didn't watch that presentation. I did read a write-up of it when I was prepping this show.
Yeah, I had it on in the background somewhere.
The write-up I read must have not have included it, so...
I mean, it was literally just a press junket for the movie, so... Win-win.
On that note, if we get any of these... If I get any of these wrong and something I've missed, let us know in the comments.
Yeah,
we'll correct
somehow
ourselves.
Fallout New Vegas remake was announced.
Yeah.
Do let us know. Let us know.
Yeah, if we missed Fallout New Vegas remake, let us know. Mm-hmm. So, Chris, with that extra point that you clawed back, you ended up with 3 out of 10, which I don't think is actually that bad, to be honest.
Not from total shots in the dark at most stuff.
Yeah,
so
I've never seen a predictions episode of like a game, like an E3 showcase or anything of that sort of nature, where people have done well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's on to yours then. What have we got for Richie?
I said God of War Ragnarok would close opening night. I put that stipulating on there because I thought it was going to be a lock. I don't think God of War wasn't even there.
Do you think it's still coming this year?
Yes.
I do as well.
I think it's coming this year, and I think we'll get probably a PlayStation dedicated showcase on it.
Yeah, I do as well.
I thought it was going to be Summer Games Fest. It felt like a good place for it. But now I think, okay, they want to do their own thing. So I reckon probably in a couple of months' time, get a little bit away from Summer Games Fest and drop it. I said opening night would be sponsored by Valve or the Steam Deck. Because Geoff Keighley tends to have a sponsor for the entire event. He's had Amazon Gaming before. He didn't really have one.
It was The Rock.
The Rock and his energy drink. And Black Adam. Yeah. I can't even remember what the energy drink's called, so I didn't worry.
Me neither.
Try harder, Dwayne. Try harder. He's a really hard-working man.
He is.
Yeah, like
Dwayne the Foundation Johnson.
One we debated, because I wasn't sure whether I gave myself a point on this, was Kojima would make an appearance with a new IP. He announced a new IP. He didn't technically show it, but you decided to give me that point, so I left the decision to you.
He did appear, and he wasn't there representing any other game other than his new cloud one with Xbox, so yeah, that's a fair one, I think. I
guess A Plague Tale Requiem will get a release date, and we did get, was it 2022?
So this was one that you kind of swiped from under me. This was on my list until you went first, and I'm glad it didn't come to fruition. They've actually got a stream scheduled in for later this month to reveal the date, annoyingly enough.
Yeah.
It's coming to Game Pass. It looks great. They showed off some gameplay and extended like Xbox showcase after hours. But yeah, you still have to wait another week or so until they reveal the date, which is annoying how they're dragging it out, but...
I think I could have pushed to give myself this point, because it did give us 2022, but I decided no.
It's
for
been
me,
that for
a release
while,
date, you've got to have new information.
Yeah, it's been marked as 2022 for the whole year as well.
Yeah, anyway, Starfield trailer, that was pretty much a lock, and I got it.
You did.
Dragon Age 4 was not there.
Nope. No EA at all, right?
No EA at all.
Crazy.
Persona 6. I went Persona 6 now. I was in the right ballpark.
You were.
I knew Atlas were there. I thought, it's going to be Persona. It's been a while since Persona 5. I know they brought out Royale since. To and they've brought out spin-offs to give it. I thought it's like, maybe it's time for a Persona 6 announcement. No, we're getting Persona 3 and then Persona 4 instead, which actually I'm quite happy about. I'm okay with that because they're both games I haven't played, so
Yeah.
I'm getting 2
And
Persona games I haven't played.
6 has to come eventually, right?
Yeah.
So just stacks the deck.
And it's also coming to Xbox, and they're coming to play the Golden, Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 Portable are coming to PlayStation as well. And there's even
maybe
Stadia. Yeah.
If you go check out the Sound Stadia podcast, we spoke all about that this week.
We did indeed. My next one was Arc Raiders gets a release date, and the Stadia logo would be missing. I put so many caveats
the logo was
on
missing.
Yeah, I put so many caveats because I thought it was a lock that Arc Raiders would be here because it was at Game Awards and it's meant to be a 2022 game.
Yeah, interesting one. There's no more real. Do we have Gamescom doing something this summer?
Probably. Yeah,
Might see it at Gamescom then.
Yeah. I said finally we get Sims 5, but again, no EA at all.
Crazy. Other than the Jedi Survivor we had before Games Fest kicked off. That's it for EA, I think.
And my last prediction, which I honestly thought was a bit of a pipe dream, and after I watched the Xbox showcase, went, oh well, we're not getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Square Enix just swing out the gate for Final Fantasy VII, an entire showcase dedicated to Final Fantasy VII games, plural.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my Part 2 name.
Crazy. How do you feel about it being split up into yet another game after the fact? So you got 3 now. You got to wait again for the rest of it. Is this game ever going to be finished?
Yeah, I mean, it's 3 games. I'm hoping there's less gap between 2 and 3.
I was going to say, it's going to feel like it's took them like 8 years to get out one remake at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge game, and they did extend Part 1 to basically be a game in its own right.
Then you had the DLC as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't played Integrate yet. I'm saving that for. I was saving that for when I know Part 2's coming.
Well,
so on the run up to Part 2, I'll replay Part 1 via Integrate because I do own it.
Rebirth.
Yes, Rebirth.
Rebirth. Wow. Yeah, so, not bad. Out of our 20 ideas, we got 3 apiece. We went hard on some of them. We could have went more generic to get a few lock-ins. So yeah, quite happy, and a lot of cloud content in there as well, which is good to see.
Yeah, I mean, talking about cloud content, this was one of the biggest things that we got from it is Xbox really doubling down on cloud, especially through Game Pass. And we got a lot of games coming cloud from Xbox.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest takeaway from me. So I don't own an Xbox, but I think I tweeted out actually mid showcase. I think that showcase, funnily enough, showed to me how if you just sign up for Game Pass with cloud gaming, like you've got such an amazing like library of titles to check out over the next 12 months. It was an absolute win for Microsoft on that front.
Well, to put it in perspective, there's 24 games were announced coming to Xbox Cloud Gaming. I believe I'm right in saying every single one of them is part of Game Pass as well.
I believe so, yeah. The majority of them are, of course, first party. So we've got, to run through a few of them, you've got the Kojima Cloud game was announced. So I guess that can only be played via cloud, maybe. We're not sure. All the first party titles, Starfield, which looks awesome. Insanely large, like almost like scarily large.
I'm concerned about that. I think I'm worried because as soon as he went, and there's all these other planets, I just had that moment where the sides like, hey, procedurally generated boring content.
Too much.
Prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong, Bethesda. But I'm less optimistic by that decision.
You got Redfall or Vampire Action. Minecraft Legends, which of course huge audience for Minecraft. It's a new take on it. Pentiment, Dusk Falls, all the Persona collection that we just spoke about. One from Koei Tecmo, Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Plague Tale, which we just mentioned as well, is coming to Game Pass and Cloud, which means when it does finally get a date, probably for the back end of the year, why buy it? Just play it in the cloud for free. Grounded is finally coming out of beta, which is the Honey I Shrunk the Kids fighting in the backyard as a shrunken character. And just a whole slew of other things.
Flintlock looked pretty cool as well.
Such a list. Yeah, Hollow Knight sequel, much required. Ark Survival Evolved 2, or just Ark 2, however you want to call that. And all of course, the expansions for like Fallout, Sea of Thieves, Elder Scrolls Online, Flight Simulator, Forza. It just was like bang, 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 and every single announcement at the bottom: console, PC, Game Pass, cloud gaming. And it was
in
like,
that 24 titles I listed, the ones that it's just they're already on the cloud, but they're getting DLC. I didn't actually even list. That's not part of the 24. So it's 24.
I think it was about 30 plus overall.
Yeah.
Which is just insane.
Yeah, it just shows you how much Xbox is doubling down on the cloud. So what I want to do next is, because this is actually a weird show for CloudQuest, because CloudQuest is usually just one topic we go for like 20, 30 minutes and that's it. This is almost like a show in 3 parts. So we've had our predictions, we've covered some of the Xbox stuff. Now what I want to get into is just Summer Games Fest as a whole, like some of our general thoughts of what happened. Like, I've got a few points to talk about, like in fact, what was your favourite presentation that you've seen so far?
So we're counting the PlayStation State of Play.
Yep, anything that was seen in June.
Kicked off the whole thing.
Whether it's got officially Summer Games Fest or not.
I would say I'm a big PlayStation fan, so they showed off a couple of bits and pieces. Nothing overly caught me from the PlayStation stuff. I love the fact that we're getting straight into PlayStation Plus. Obviously, the actual main event showed us the Last of Us remake, which I'm an absolute massive, huge Last of Us fan. It's a bit expensive, but am I going to buy it day one and play through that beautiful story all over again? Damn right I am.
I've went the opposite way on that.
Oh, okay.
I'm not. I've seen side by side footage, and it is an improvement. It does look beautiful, but I don't care. The Last of Us is a masterpiece anyway, and is still very playable, even though it is 10 years old. So it's like I don't really care about the remake. I'm
9 years old. It's not even 10. It's at its anniversary, like this week.
It's like I don't want to drop £70 on a game I already own just for what I mean is largely a graphical upgrade from a game that I don't necessarily think the graphics really calling out for it.
Yeah, some of the side-by-side comparisons did make me look and go like, God, the old one holds up so well. It's a testament to how good Naughty Dog are. But you know what? It's one of my favourite games of all time, and I think, like a good movie, any excuse to go back in with a new trophy list, new gameplay mechanics. I'm hoping they add in things like the ability to go prone, jump, and like, do you know that little shuffle dodge they give in the second game?
Yeah.
You can like dodge swipes. Well, I think they're going to add a few more clicker moves in. And
yeah, I think they are basing off a lot of Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
In terms of gameplay.
Yeah, I'm just a sucker for that, and I think there's no real big games that I'm looking for the end of this year nearly, other than like the usual titles. But yeah, that was like, oh yeah, hype, the TV show. I can't wait for HBO's TV show with Pedro Pascal, and yeah, I just want Naughty Dog's next thing. I've been waiting that long for Factions to come out. When they announced that, even though it was leaked beforehand, disappointingly, I was like, yeah, I'm totally down for more The Last of Us Part 1, retitled, to bring it in line with the Godfather style.
Yeah, I'm kind of with... See, for me, the PlayStation Showcase was kind of just meh. There was a lot of like sci-fi horror stuff coming at the moment. Like, obviously, Callisto Protocol is kind of the pinnacle, but watching the show... It's not even just the Sony one, just throughout the entire Summer Games Fest, there was so many sci-fi or sci-fi horror games. It's like, it kind of, a lot of this just blended into one. I don't know, there's a lot of... I saw, as I said already, I've seen a lot of trailers, but there's very few games I can recall, like, vividly. Mm-hmm. Nothing's kind of ingrained.
It did become a bit of a kind of rinse and repeat, especially with... Not many of them showed off gameplay. A lot of it was just, like, cutscene animation. But yeah, I got the same feeling. Once we were, like... We got Callisto Protocol, which looks scary as shit, like, such, like, Dead Space vibes, and it's getting out ahead of Dead Space, which is great. And then we got like another game, and you're right, after like 2 or 3, I felt like I was watching almost like lesser versions of what came before, beat after beat after beat, with the same kind of dark, dingy environments, bit of a shaky camera, and then something jumps out, and it was like, okay, what's new? It's kind of when Cyberpunk kind of launched their big campaign, and then every other game was like neon lights and cybernetics and
it's like
bright pinks and greens.
And when it's a kind of a genre that you're not overly in love with, like Callisto Protocol looks awesome, but it looks awesome. It's like it's it's what I describe as an amazing game that I don't intend to play.
Yeah.
But when half the presentation is Callisto Protocol and things similar, various degrees. Was it Witchfire as well? Like looked like a pretty cool Doom clone.
Yeah,
like that would look pretty cool. I don't know. There's very few things that really jumped out at me over this presentation.
Yeah, I think it was a weaker summer, and I honestly feel like in another world, Geoff probably wouldn't have hosted it. He wouldn't necessarily would have had it because all the developers are now, of course, holding on to do it themselves. Like, let's face it, was State of Play ever supposed to be a part of it? And it was only like the last minute. It was like, oh, we're now part of Summer Game Fest, and Nintendo haven't done anything yet. And I get the feeling like he wants to keep everything together like E3, but everyone's kind of thinking, well, why don't we just do it ourselves? And unless you have the big boys playing, it becomes a bit watered down. But I do think from Geoff's point of view, he couldn't skip this year. E3 bailed on this year, and I think Geoff's opportunity to keep that consistency, Game Awards, Summer Game Fest, Game Awards, Summer Game Fest, with E3 not being a thing, I think regardless of what games he had to show out, he had to be there this year. He couldn't skip a year because Games Fest is in such its infancy. If he missed it, it would have been like, oh, it must have just been a one-off last year. So I think whatever he was able to show, he had to show it, and I think he showed his card, and unfortunately, due to the nature of COVID and pandemic and release dates, he didn't have the best deck of cards this year round, but he was always going to do it.
Like, EA weren't there, Ubisoft weren't there.
Yeah.
Like, it's quite a few big
Imagine
players.
how different it could have been if them big players were actually present.
Yeah, and it's one that I can totally understand from the point of view of the big players. Like, we don't want to be necessarily involved in this. Because where E3, it might be when you got a physical presence on the show floor, there's a lot of benefit to being there.
Yeah.
But when it's digital only, it's like, well, we might just get lost in the mix.
Yeah.
Where if, say, Ubisoft do a forward next month, it's all eyes on Ubisoft, where...
Why would you split your audience?
Did you watch the Tribeca Games Festival?
Nope.
Me either.
Yeah, same with some of the indie stuff. I just didn't have the time, because if it's all in one place, I'll watch it as one big showcase.
Yeah.
And and then you've also got the problem of all the developers have deals with other publishers. So we saw Resident Evil Remake at the State of Play, and it was like, oh, awesome, it looks gorgeous. But then when it was showing up again at the Games Fest night, it was like, oh, we saw this like 3 days ago. So it started to get very repetitive very quick, and it's like, you can show different parts of the games and different elements, but at the same time, it's like we also just... And then Capcom came out and did their own thing as well, showing more of it off, so... It was kind of like nobody really knew their place. And that's why E3 was so good for just, there's the stage, you're up next, show your shit.
Capcom's was weird. Capcom's just almost been two different presentations. Because one half is, here's some stuff like Capcom, and the other half is, here's some Resident Evil.
Yeah. But I guess that all that means is really we're looking forward to a Ubisoft thing some point nearby, or a Nintendo thing some point in the near future. So... It's spread out, but I definitely think it was a bit detrimental to Geoff's quality this year. And I don't think we're the only ones along those lines.
Again, I don't necessarily think this is Geoff's fault. He can only do what he can do. As my favourite presentation, I think, might have been the Final Fantasy VII one that came right at the end. But there again, the content of that presentation, it was very focused. It's like, we're just going to give you a lot of Final Fantasy VII. And I'm okay with that. It's kind of what I want. It's like, we got the name of part 2. We're getting some of the other things like PSP titles and stuff brought forward. There's a mobile game, but don't care about that. But
yeah, would you have felt different about it if the Final Fantasy news was part of Summer Games Fest?
I think part 2 could have literally been a closer for opening night.
Right. Then imagine that with like
It is that big of a game.
Yeah. And then you could have had the Resident Evil DLC expansion content mixed in there in the middle. And I feel like some of the stuff that was spread out across the week would have made for a more epic showcase to begin with. But it's this cadence of spreading it out over a festival. Great if you're there in person, because it's everything's all over the place, like festivals in real life.
Yeah.
But when everyone's just sat at home watching stuff on YouTube and catching up on live streams and reaction content, you kind of just want it in one big go, right? in one place, more importantly, because everyone only has so much time and so much attention. And like you said, like we're massive game enthusiasts. I listen and try and watch as much as I can, but all the indie stuff I unfortunately missed out on, and the Tribeca stuff you mentioned, didn't watch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was anything that wowed me. That's maybe it's just I'm getting a bit old and jaded, and like
cynical.
It's getting harder and harder to wow me.
Yeah,
but there was nothing. I mean, Final Fantasy VII Part 2 was never going to wow me because I've already played Part 1. I know what that game's going to be. It's going to be the next bit of a game I already own. I'm excited for it, but it's not going to go, oh my god, what's this? It's not going to have that effect on me, but it doesn't need to. It's Final Fantasy VII Part 2. Starfield didn't wow me. Starfield looks perfectly good. Potentially could even be great. But it does it does look a bit like a Bethesda game at points when in the dialogue, the character's saying straight down the barrel of the camera straight at you. Yeah. It's losing. I can't remember who I was watching. They were talking about like in a lot of like modern games now, you don't get that like, okay, in a conversation you fixed camera, the characters interact and still with the world and move around, and it feels a bit more natural. And then there's the whole most likely procedurally generated thousands of planets stuff, which I just think is like, ugh. It could work really well, but it could also be kind of bland.
Yeah, but I do think the biggest takeaway from us is probably just cloud gaming won.
Cloud gaming did well, I think.
It did. And that's without anything from Stadia for like the second year running, which is a joke. Nothing from Luna, which I'm really surprised at after Amazon Prime sponsored Game Awards. I thought they would double down and commit and say like, oh, actually, I am actually surprised we didn't see a Luna like worldwide rollout this summer. That would have seemingly been the best time to roll it out in time for Christmas almost. And Xbox just kind of flying the flag.
Yeah. So let's end this on a positive note. What, out of everything you saw at Summer Games Fest, what is the game you're looking forward to the most?
Oh, it's an interesting one because it wavers from day to day. I'm really excited to play Stray with the cat game. I'm getting it for free now, which is awesome with my subscription. All the other stuff looks great, but yeah, really, really big fan of Stray. Again, I'm a big Ubisoft fan, so I'm interested to see what they've got. EA, Jedi Fall Survivor in the future, of course, but from what I actually saw, I said about my Last of Us thing, but again, it's an older game, so I'd like to give it to a newer game. I just really want to play a cat in a futuristic city with robots. It just seems such a cool concept, and it's almost here. How about yourself?
I think Plague Tale Requiem looks interesting. I've not played any Plague Tale games, but that's not it. I just want to give that as a shout. I was like, I watched that trailer and go, I should look into Plague Tale. That was kind of my takeaway there.
Yeah. I mean, I said a few weeks ago, like I played it because I had like a little quiet period. And I can't remember what got me onto it, but I just downloaded it, played it for free on PlayStation you'll have it in your collection as well, no doubt. It was a few months ago, it was free. Got the platinum in about 15 hours or something. It was just a really good third-person puzzle story with a really good solid story and adventure. So I'm looking forward to the next one. It's a good shout, that. Yeah, but we don't have a date.
I've also mentioned Final Fantasy VII Part 2. I am looking forward to that, but that's probably going to be, I think it's late. It's winter next year, I think.
Yeah,
so it's quite a way off. So it's hard to get excited for something like that when it's so far away. I'll start getting excited for that probably in the autumn when I'm playing through Final Fantasy VII Integrate. That's when I'll start getting hyped for that game. I'm going to actually go with Persona 4 Golden because I've heard such good things. I love Persona 5. I loved it enough to do a second playthrough after I spent 100 hours in my first playthrough, put it that way. So I'm just excited to explore more of that franchise. I know it's an older title, but it's a game I haven't played.
Well, yeah. Many, many hours to be sunk into that. I tell you what everyone else should be excited for, though, Richie. Talking with PS. We're going to do one last plug for that before we wrap up. Got to get that in there.
I was going to plug it in the outro anyway.
Double down.
But that's all we have time for you. As Chris said, watch Talking the PS. It's our new show. We've got 2 new co-hosts. Send all your... I want to see people in the comments on that chat sending love to our new co-hosts. That's what I want to see, and also do the usual stuff you do in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this show, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel so you know when everything comes, hit the bell icon for notifications, and if you got a topic that you want us to discuss in this show, or maybe in any of our other podcasts, plural now.
Ooh.
There's a link to our Discord server in the description of this video, or in the description of the podcast service if you listen to the audio-only version. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for your support over the last 2.5 years. Future's bright in the clouds. And with that, my name's been Richie.
I've been Chris.
We've been Helix Cloud Games. Quest completed.